Hello there. Let's create a program to compute area of a circle given either the diameter or the radius. So a program to compute area of a circle. This is a comment here. Circle given radius or diameter. So if given radius, area we know is equals to pi r squared. So this one will be pi multiplied by radius multiplied by radius. Else given diameter area is equals to this one will be pi multiplied by diameter squared, that is pi d squared divided by 4. It's a quarter pi d squared, so by diameter and then all this over 4. So let's see how this program can run. Basically we need to print something out. Let's say print the area of a circle. Yeah, let's run this and see how it looks like. Shift F10, stop and rerun. So the area of a circle, let's tab it out so that it can indent slightly further for it to look at least clear enough. So you have the area of a circle there. So what do we want? We want to have a variable called radius. This radius, we take it from the user. So radius is equals to integer. We are converting it to integer. Input, enter radius, and then if given the radius, remember, if given radius, area is equals to pi multiplied by radius squared. So area, let's call it area 1. This is area given radius is equals to pi multiplied by radius multiplied by radius. This one will give me an error because I have not defined what pi is. So you can define it manually either by saying pi is equals to 3.142, or you can import it from the math module. So import from math, import pi. It's not relevant down here. So area given radius will be pi r squared here. But what if we are given diameter? So diameter is equals to integer, take it from the user, input diameter. So given diameter, area will be, let's call it area 2. Area is equals to, as we had written here, pi multiplied by diameter squared, diameter multiplied by diameter, and then divide this by 4. So let's print area 1. We can print out area given radius. Area given radius is, this one will be area 1, and then print area given diameter. Given diameter is, this one will be area 2. So we can run this to see if it will give us the right thing. So radius, you can give it 10, diameter you can give it 20, double the radius. So see, area given radius is, it's the same thing, just a little change here, but if you round off, it's just the same thing, area given radius. So the challenge here is we want to give the user the power to select if the user wants to use radius or if the user wants to use diameter. So here we are going to have a series of loops and function definition. So try to figure out how you're going to go about it before I give you the solution. Alright, so I hope you did find the time to try and figure out how this function, you're going to make it a user interactive. Also for the loops and the function definition, those one are going to come later, but the major parameter that you're going to use to get the user to choose between the radius and the diameter is going to be actually a conditional execution. And the conditional execution is the if else statements. Here they are called the elifs and the else. So those are the ones that we are going to use. So first, before let's run this code again to see how it works. It works correctly. You can input the radius 10 and then the diameter 20. It gives you the same answer. So what if we want to now give the user that power to select? So we are going to prompt him. First you have to take that prompt from the user. We'll take an input, call it that we have stored this input in a variable called prompt, and so we are prompting the user to tell us what he wants to use. Let's ask him a question. What do you want to use? And then let's give him a range of choices, so we can start on a new line and then indent it at least a little bit. Give him choice 1, let's call it radius. You can either, let's give him a bracket whereby instead of typing in the word radius, you can just type R for maybe time, what have you. Start on a new line again. Choice 2, we can give him diameter, call it D, and then choice 3, we can give him all. Let's call this A. So if he wants to, we forgot to start on a new line. So start on a new line. Let's print this and see how it looks like. So our function can't just start with, our code can't just start with what do you want to use. I mean, it hasn't even told the user what this function is. So this print the area of a circle, we can cut it and paste it on top here. So when we run this to look the area of a circle, how we can remove this indent because it doesn't look that okay down there. But this one is actually a personal preference. You can use it how you want. This one does not affect the function in any way. So the area of a circle, what do you want to use? Radius, diameter, or so here is where the conditional execution starts, the one that I've said, if, elif, and else. So we can say if prompt is equals to, remember that our input, we had not converted it to any data type, so input automatically it's a string. So our prompt, if it's the first choice, remember radius, we gave him the ability to take R, so we can just put R there. So if prompt is R, then do what? Work with radius. So there radius it is. So area 1 is the area given the radius. There it's okay. And then we can call this print area given radius. So this one is area 1. We can paste it under this if clause. So that one is done. And then again, what if you're given the radius, the diameter, sorry. So you can say elif prompt is equals to diameter, then do what? Take diameter. If prompt is D, take diameter and store it in a variable called diameter, and then this one will be area 2, and then you can print area given diameter. So that one is okay. Let's run this and see how it runs. So it gives us the area of a circle. What do you want to use? I forgot to put where it's okay. You can put radius here, R. Then it gives you radius, say 10. Say area given radius is that one. We should have put here a choice. Let's start on a new line where he will input the choice actually, so that it looks at least readable. So run it again. What do you want to use? Here is your choice, where he's going to input the choice, what he has decided to use. So what if it is diameter? You can say diameter. It's D. You can't try diameter, it won't give you anything. So if it's diameter, let's say 20. Area given diameter is the same as if the radius was 10, because it's the same. We are talking about the same circle here. So what if he chooses 3, the third option? 3, we haven't written any code for the third one, so you see it doesn't do anything. So all we want it to return to us back the radius and the diameter. So we'll just have this code in the all clause. So we can either have the else or the elif. So let's start with the elif first. So elif prompt is not R, it's not D, it's what? It's A for all. So when you have this, then we are going to take all this, because it's all, we paste it here. And also for this one, we paste it here. And so when we do that, we want this print to be at the bottom, the second last actually, so that it prints out systematically, sequentially, let's say. So when we run this, let's try our option A. It gives us radius 10, diameter 20. So this is like the initial call that we had without the conditional execution statements. So we have a given radius, given diameter is the same. So instead of using elif, you can use else. Elif it's if prompt is A, but when you use else, you can't have this one here. You have to remove it and just have the else there. So this one else, it runs the code when the prompt is not R and it's not D. Definitely, if it's not R and it's not D, it's what? It's A. So it will just run the same way. You can confirm it by running it again. So choice A, radius 10, diameter 20. It gives us the area, given radius and given diameter. So that is the simple way how you can interact with the user to be able, so that the user can be able to compute the area if he wants to compute it using radius or using diameter. So you just use the conditional execution. So another challenge, I'd want you to pause the video and try it out. What if this user has different circles and he wants to run the program again? What are you going to use? Just a hint, now this is the part where you are going to incorporate function definition to run this function again. I think the loops will come later. We might use it in this code, in this program or not, but the main one that you're going to run is function definition and calling that function. So I've given you enough hint. Try to pause it and run it and see if you can be able to allow the user to run this program multiple times to compute the area of different circles, different radius and diameters. Alright, so I hope you did find the time to look at this code and try to figure out how you can allow the user to run it again a number of times that they want until they print a certain character or string such that it can end the code. So before we define our function, I'd like to say something about this else. If we run this code and then put anything that is not among these choices, not A, it's not D, or it's not R. Let's say we put anything. It's going to run radius and it's going to run diameter. So it's going to run the last one. So we don't want to give the user this much freedom so that they can just enter anything and still the code runs. So you have to change this else, because remember this else is going back and check this prompt. Is this prompt is it not radius or diameter? I mean, it's running anything that is not in the given choices. So we don't want it to do that because we only have 3 sets of choices, that is radius, diameter, all. So we have just to return it back to the elif clause. So elif prompt is equals to the last one was A, then run the last one that gives you all. So you see now if we run this code again and we input anything, it will give us an error. Yeah, no, it won't give you anything back. But now to minimize the error, you have to master how the try and except works. This one is going to filter and at least you'll have a clean or professional program. I will get into try and except maybe in the later videos. So now back to the topic of discussion, the function definition. We want this program to give the user that ability to run it multiple times until maybe they end it. So we are going to indent this, because remember how functions work. Let's define a function call it maybe a circle. You can call it anything you want. So I'm pretty sure that you understand that if we run this, it won't give you anything back. It will just print these ones that are outside of the function. The prompt is outside, but if you try to run anything, it won't, because we have not called the function. But I think it will be best if we called, or if we input all this inside the function, because it's the function called a circle, so that if you want to run anything from here, they are all inside here. So if we try to run it again, it won't even show anything, because we have not called the function. That's how functions work. You have to call it for it to run. So this is how we call our functions. Just type the name of the function again there. So if we run it, it will give us back the prompt and everything in there. So there you have it. Let's try to run the radius one. I'm writing 1 instead of r. R is the choice that we gave us a prompt, not 1. So run it again. R radius 10. So it's okay, the function is working, we have defined it. So what if you want to run this again, to give the user that ability to ask him if you want to run again, yes or no, and then it runs accordingly depending on the input given. So here we want to define another variable called restart. You can call it anything. So restart, we are taking input. We can't, because this input is automatically a string, and what you want is a string. So ask run again, yes or no. Let's just put y or m, and say, and conditional execution here, if restart is equals to yes, do what? Call this function. Define what? A circle. No, sorry, not define a circle, just call it. Else, that is if it's not equal to yes, then meaning it's equal to no. Else do what? Exit. You can write exit or quit, it's still the same thing. So what you'll want is to copy this everywhere, because the user can either choose radius, diameter, or all, and you want him to have the option of running the code again, regardless of the prompt that he uses. So we will paste this one here, then we'll also paste this one here. So let's run it and see. So when you run it, you can say, you can use the radius one. It's not running. Sorry, I used 1 instead of R. So radius 10. So do you want to run again? This one is not really clear enough. We need to maybe add some column there, but it's a preference. However you'll see it fit here. We are just learning, we're not really perfecting it, but it will look good if you just have these ones here, so that the input from the user here can be separated with the code itself. So I'll colon on this last one. So do you want to run again? Let's say maybe yes. Or do you want to use radius? I'm still inputting 1 instead of R. Then this one shows you that at least in your prompt you should have made it easier for the user, because it's very easy for a user to input 1 instead of this R here. So maybe if we would have given room for the user to input 1 and the code runs. But I'm pretty sure you are now understanding what we are working with here. So let's try this one more time. Put the diameter D. Reminder, D not 2, it's D. So diameter 20. Area given diameter the 80. Do you want to run again? Yes. Which one do you want? What do you want to use? Let's say, just for the sake of learning, let's put all A. Radius 10, diameter 20, 80. Do you want to run again? Yes or no? No. And it exits the code. So this one is very useful, what I've taught here from the conditional execution, the if, else, elif statements, and the function definition. It's going to come in handy in the next videos. I'm going to teach you now step by step until we understand how we can incorporate it into our game module. So if you want to open your console window to see how it runs, then I'd urge you to end with taking an input from the user, because the console window normally closes first before you see what is running. So press enter to exit. Alright, and there we have it. So save this file to maybe something, call it area of a circle. Save it. So when you open your console window, this is what you see: area of a circle. What do you want to use? You can use radius. What is the radius? 10. Yes or no? No. It's still closing very fast. You need to cross-check your code. I think this part that we printed, input press enter to exit, should be printed within this conditional execution statement, so that the console window doesn't close very fast. But that's it for this video. What you have learned so far is going to build upon each other. We are building knowledge on top, so that we'll be able to run our program for the game module. But if you understand these three key concepts, the functions, function definition, user defined functions, and modules, to import modules like the one that we did import here, the one called math, it enabled us to use Spy actually. So if you learn those two, functions and modules, and conditional execution as the ones that you have used here, and then lastly the looping iterations, the for loops and the while loops, those three basically are the building blocks of every code that you're going to write and the programs. So learn those three and you're good to go until you understand it. So until next time, stay put.